Hello there. Welcome to the Life in Our 20s podcast. I know it's been a while since I uploaded an episode. I've been a little bit busy, a little bit swamped with schoolwork and stuff, but I'm on spring break now. I know it's a little weird that I have it in February, um, but I'm finally free to have a little bit of time to record a couple of episodes. So I might record a couple in advance and just release them, have them as backups just in case I get swamped with work again. But i'm I'm making sure that I commit to the promise that I made of having 2 episodes a month. I've had a little bit of a tough time trying to figure out what to talk about exactly, because there's so much that I want to talk about, but a lot of the thoughts that I have are not fully developed. So I've recorded a couple of episodes already. They kind of, sounded a lot cooler in my head. And then I actually recorded them and I didn't really like them. So we'll see which ones get released. I'm hoping this one gets released because this one is something that I've wanted to do for a while. Something I've wanted to talk about for a long time, just in general. Like I've talked about it with friends and family before, but I think it's cool to open it up to you guys. Thank you to everybody that's been listening. I've looked at the analytics for the podcast, and I'm surprised, honestly, to see listeners from around the world. I thought my main demographic was going to be just in the U.S., but we've reached pretty far. We have listeners from the U.S., Japan, St. Lucia, Canada, Kenya, and Australia. I'm looking at the analytics right now, so thank you again to anybody that's been listening. It's been very motivating to see that people are listening, not just from the US, because that tells me that it's not just my friends listening to the podcast to try to make me feel better. So thank you again to anybody that's been listening. I'm really grateful that you take time out of your day to listen to this little podcast of mine. A small speck in the grand scheme of things, but thank you. Anyway, for today's episode, I wanted to talk about something that has been on my mind for a while, and it kind of bugs me. It rubs me the wrong way, I've talked about this with friends, and we're trying to figure out something to, fix this issue, but so far, we haven't figured anything out. So, what I'm talking about is like when you watch like movies and stuff, and I know we shouldn't like base our lives like around movies and stuff, but I've seen it in real life too, but mainly from movies. There's always like a dedicated hangout spot that people will go to, and it's like, for example, you're going to hang out with a group of your friends, and there's no debating about, let's go do this, let's go do that. It's the first things first is like, okay, we're going to meet at the usual spot. We'll talk for a little bit, and then we figure out whether or not we're going to go anywhere or just chill at that spot. And like in the movies, it's usually like, a bowling alley or like somebody's basement that they've cleaned up and made to look really nice. Or like the mall, like the food court or something. Um, I've seen some instances where it's like in the woods or something, or like, by a creek. lawn chairs, like, and just like cracking a cold one with the boys and stuff. And it's got me thinking, like, we don't have that. Like, my friend group, we don't have that. And we've talked about it, and I've talked about it with one friend in particular, and we kind of agree that we should have like a hangout spot that we just know, like, if all else fails, if like, we like if one of us doesn't have enough cash to go to the movies, or like, we don't feel like going to the mall or something, or like, we're kind of bored, we could always just go to that spot and just talk. And it's like a place that's away from everybody else's, like, homes and stuff, cuz like I still live with my parents. I have a couple of friends that live with their parents as well. um I have a friend that has roommates, and like, I guess it's sometimes it's just really nice to have a place that you can go to that's away from everyone else. So you could give, like, for example, so that I can give my family some privacy and I could go hang out with my friends. Or like, if, for example, that one friend that has like a roommate, if they need like some space, or if they don't want to get in the way of like their roommate's plans, like they're gonna have people over or something, a place that we can just all like go to and congregate in case like we don't have anywhere else to hang out. And we've been struggling to find a place like that. Like, we've been looking at like bowling alleys that we can go to, arcades, but like all the arcades now are like very different to what they were back in the day. There's this arcade that I've gone to a couple of times with different friends. Um and they charge like, I think it's like $10 an hour to be there, but you don't pay for the arcade machines. They just let you play like as much as you want. So it's not like back in the day when you'd have to like put your quarters in, and then like, like you only play as long as you have like quarters to put in the machines. But like $10 an hour, like, that seems like it's probably not a lot if you actually sit there and like play a bunch of games in that hour. The other option is like $20 for like the whole day. But I don't know. It's always packed. And I think I preferred back when you would just go into an arcade like for free, right? They wouldn't charge entry, but you'd have to pay for the machines, like, to use the machines themselves. And like dropping like $20 to hang out like, that's that it just seems like a little much. Like, I'm gonna go bankrupt from that. If we had like a regular arcade, that'd be kind of cool, because even if like we don't have cash, we could just watch other people play, or like, just talk. Um, like we would watch our friends play or whatever, and like I just sit there and watch, or maybe jump in like in a couple of games. But and then there's no pressure of like, oh, within an hour, like, you get to stay there as long as you want. Because you're like, you got quarters still, you can put them in, like, keep playing. Um, what else have we tried? I mean, I thought about like the library, but that's like the worst hangout spot, because like you got to be quiet, and all of my friends are like pretty loud. There's like parks, but there's just a lot of homeless people out now, and I don't want to see like, like be hanging out with my friends and see like two homeless people arguing over like who took my crack pipe or whatever. So it's been kind of hard to find a place to hang out. I mean, it'd be cool if one of us had like a basement or something and do like a little man cave sort of thing. But sadly, in our area, we don't really have basements or attics. Like, like if we had a pretty big attic, that'd be cool to like, make nice. And I don't know, I wanted to ask to the listeners. I'm probably going to have a poll under this if you're listening like through Spotify or you could follow um the Instagram. I made an Instagram for the podcast for those of you that did not know. Um, I'll have it linked um in the description of the podcast. But I want to ask to the audience, like, where do you guys hang out? Do you guys have like a dedicated spot, or do you just kind of go with the flow and end up somewhere? Because I've been thinking of different places, but like like a lot of the stuff that we used to have back in the day is just like it's gone. Like there's no more bowling alleys, there's no more arcades. I remember there was this Target. I know it sounds weird, like, oh, you're gonna go hang out at Target, but there used to be this Target, like, not that far away from my house, probably like within walking distance, honestly. And I used to go there as a kid a lot. And when I was a kid, I was like, that's my hangout spot, because, like, the only person that I could really hang out with there were like my mom that would take me and like my little brother. But I considered it a hangout spot because you would like basically kind of like window shop, go around the store and look at the stuff that like you like. Every once in a while, you'd have money, you'd actually buy something, but we loved the fact that it had like a little food court. So we would like walk around the store, have a nice little conversation, talk about like the different, like, back then when I was little, it's like all the different toys and video games that you like. And I imagine that that would have been cool today. Like me and my friends just walking around and just looking at stuff and like having a good time, and then stop by the food court and like get something. And it used to be pretty cheap, like it used to be like $3 for a sandwich or something back then. Now I imagine it'd be like $10 for a sandwich with inflation, because it's crazy, especially in California where I live. um but I don't know, I just wish that we had somewhere cool to go to. And then like our mall, we have like an actual mall in our city. It just sucks. There's nothing there. Like every few months there's always a Clorsto's, like whoa, what happened there? There's always a store closing, and then a new one pops up, and it only lasts like a couple of months before they close it again because there's no foot traffic there. Like nobody goes in the mall anymore. But it sucks because we go to like neighboring cities. I know I went to one in LA, and that thing was massive. And like I would love to live in that area because there would be a lot to do. There's like a movie theater, there's a gym in there, there's all these different shops, and like, just window shopping is enough for me. Like, you get to look at all these interesting things, like, that you want to buy, and you get to tell your friends about it. And then like, you kind of go like, oh yeah, I'm broke, like, oh, I'm broke too. But like, it's fun, like, because you're there with your friends, and you're sometimes the things that you see are like really cool conversation starters. Like there's all these little manga shops or like bookstores in there, and like um surprisingly we will look at like different like kitchen appliances or stuff like that, cuz like that's when you've like hit adulthood. You're like, "Oh, look at this cabinet. It looks really cool. I wish I had the money to buy it." But I wish we had something like that big mall, but like local, so we didn't have to drive so far, because gas is expensive, and we wouldn't want to drive like 2 hours away just to hang out. So yeah, I mean, like, where to hang out, you know? I guess it'd be cool if we could find a bowling alley or something that's not too far, but like you got to drive everywhere now. There's nothing like near our homes anymore, and then like what is there is just like surrounded by like a bunch of just always violence in this area. Like, Jesus Christ, there's so much violence, and like there's a lot of homeless people, and it's just kind of scary, to be honest, to like find somewhere to hang out in the area. Sometimes I wish I lived in a different city, but like this is my home. Like, I can't really leave this place, and I wish that we could find somewhere to hang out, because like we could hang out at somebody's house, but like we've all got siblings or like, our parents, and like, with me it's like how large is my friend group? It's like me and maybe like max like 4 or 5 other friends hanging out at once, so like 5 to 6 people. And like we're not all gonna fit like, in my bedroom, like to like I don't know, like play Mario Kart or something. Like my room's small, so we I mean, we could use the living room, but then like, parents are watching TV or something, so I don't know. And it's like the same case, like, like I know I titled like the podcast Life in Our 20s. I was like, "Oh, you shouldn't be living with your parents if you're in your 20s." I'm like, "Well, I'm kind of broke and I'm still in college, dude. Like, maybe afterwards I can actually move and like, we'll have a hangout spot. But for now, it's like, you got to make the most of what you have." And even like some of my friends that have roommates, it's like your roommates are there and they have other people over, or like, they have like a significant other, and you're like, "Oh, well, I gotta give them their space because they like said that they were gonna like, hang out here," and it's like now we can't hang out here and like, play video games or talk or whatever. So, and I know that we're in our 20s, but like bars are also not our thing. At my university, I know there's a couple people that are like, "Oh, like, I go to the bar to have fun and this and that," but like I personally don't drink for personal reasons, but some of my friends do, and I don't think we'd ever go to a bar though in this area, because at least there's like a bar like literally down the street from my house, and there's always cop cars there, because there's always like, shootouts and stuff, because bars in this area are just crazy, you know it's just, I don't know, we'd probably have to move to find a decent spot to hang out. But yeah, I don't know, am I missing anything? Like, are there any other places that you could hang out that are like, fun but like not too expensive? Like, I know when the or not the county fair, is it the county fair? I think, I don't know, but there's a fair that comes down to our town every once in a while, and like, I go every once in a while. It's pretty fun. I wish there was more of that, like more events like that. Something interesting to do, because there just doesn't seem to be much to do in this area. I don't know. Whenever we like do hang out, we try to make the most of it. I think I mentioned this in another episode. Like when it's like a one-on-one thing, like it's like me and another friend or something like that. We'll do something simple, like, like play a board game or like play some video games and stuff, and that's fine. But like when we try to get the whole group together, we need like a dedicated hangout spot. Like it's like, I don't know. I just think it'd be easier. Like we have more room to do stuff, and then if we got loud or something, there's nobody to complain about it really. Um, so I just wish we could find something like that. I don't know if you guys have something like that. Like I guess I grew up like seeing this stuff in movies and stuff, and like TV shows, cartoons, and then kind of expecting it to be that way once I grew up. And like when I was younger, it was like, oh, the mall. Like, like I watched a bunch of stuff on TV, and it's like all these teenagers hang out at the mall. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's going to be me when I'm like in high school or whatever. Like, where I'm going to have my driver's license. I'm going to go down to the mall, hang out with my friends. And like we just talk, have a fun time, buy some stuff. Like, but it just wasn't like that. Like, I think it's kind of pointless to get your license that young, because you have like limitations on it and like who you can drive with and stuff. So you just get it once you're like 18 or whatever. You get more freedom too. And then there's like the fact that our mall just kind of sucked. And like we were in high school, man. Like the one thing that I overlooked when I was younger was like money. Like a how are we gonna get to like the mall? Like all of us were broke. Like none of us had jobs really. Like maybe a couple of us did, but that one person or those two people aren't gonna pay for everybody else. Like, they're not gonna pay for their like bus pass or whatever. Like we could get rides from like family members or something, but you gotta plan everything, and then like some parents are stricter than others, so yeah, I don't know. And then like in high school, I had like the same feeling. I was like, oh, that's gonna be me like when I'm in college. I'm gonna be able to go to the mall with my friends and stuff and like have fun, and like we're just like, dude, like the mall here sucks. A lot of us are broke because like, we're college students, and it kind of comes with the title. Like a lot of college students are broke, especially like my friend group. A lot of us, we're we're not poor, we're not broke, but we're definitely not like, rich. Um and I don't know, I feel like a lot of us kind of realize that we could use our money to do other stuff, I guess. I don't know. I'm just a little salty that like all these different things that I saw on TV and stuff, like all these different cool hangout spots, and we like never had one. Like imagine if we had like a lake or like a river near our house or something. Just set up some lawn chairs and like hang out by it. And I don't know, it's just like a certain feeling, like, to have like a dedicated hangout spot, and you're like, yeah, this is like where we hang out. This is like our spot. It's like kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. And we've been trying. We've been trying like anything, honestly. Like we even talked about like finding a place, like, um a place with just like a place up in the mountains or something with a good view. Set up some lawn chairs, maybe a speaker or something. Just hang out. That'd be like, just that'd be kind of cool. Um, there's just nothing like that. I mean, maybe in the future, like, once once we have like a little bit more money or something, we can like somebody gets like their own house or something. They're like, or like, we all rent a place or something. We could finally hang out all together. And I realize now that I'm saying this out loud, it sounds just like when I was younger. I think that just happens, and you just never get like, it never like actually happens. You never get there. Because as a kid, I would be like, oh, that's me as a teenager. And then as a teenager, I was like, oh, that's going to be me as an adult. Like, now as an adult, I'm like, oh, man, well, maybe, when I'm 40, we'll have somewhere to hang out. And it just gets pushed back perpetually. It just keeps moving forward. And like, we still don't have somewhere to hang out. And I'm just afraid that we're going to get to like an age where like we're just too like, caught up with other things, like, or like too old to even want to hang out anymore, like, once everybody settles down and they have like their own family and stuff. Like I want to take advantage of that like right now, and like that we're young, find a good hangout spot, make some really cool core memories, and just like, just have a good time, because everybody says like your 20s are like the best time of your life, like, and so far, like, I mean, we're only like I'm 22, like, it's just so far that has not been the case. But who knows, maybe in the future, maybe in the future we'll find somewhere cool to hang out, and we'll just have the time of our lives. I'm just hoping, be positive, I guess. Um I don't know. I just wish that it was easier to find these things because we've been struggling a lot. But yeah, I guess we just gotta stay positive and just keep looking. Maybe we'll find like a hidden gem somewhere in town, like somewhere that people don't really like. Somewhere that like a lot of people don't really like go to or like don't really talk about, and like it'll become our little hangout spot just to hang out. Um, and we don't need much. I remember one time, I think it was for one of my birthdays or something. We kind of just drove around town. We went to that arcade that I mentioned earlier, and then afterwards we just like I think we got some ice cream. Yeah, that's what we did. We got some ice cream, and then we just hung out in the parking lot, and like that was fun. It's just that like we were just kind of paranoid. We were like, oh, we might get shot out here because it's like kind of on a sketchier part of town. And then we thought about like, oh, we might even get like ticket for loitering or something. But that was like just pretty fun. We're just all hanging out, like um, just like leaning up against the car. We opened up like the trunk to one of them, and we're just like sitting there, just talking, like having a good time. Like we don't need much. We just like just cool little hangout spot like that. And without like the possibility of like getting shot or mugged, um or like get picked up by the cops and get like ticket for loitering because like you can't hang out anywhere now. Like I don't know. Do you like, for those of you listening, do you think I'm asking for too much? Like is it too much to ask for to like just have a cool little hangout spot and like just have some fun, like, with all the stuff going on in the world? Is it too much to ask for? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little delusional, basing like everything off of like movies and stuff too much, but like it's, it's like media that I consumed, and I imagined like that life was going to be that way when I was younger. I don't know. I've been fed lies, I guess. I'm still like I'm hopeful that we'll find something someday, I guess. Yeah. Well, you've probably listened to me rant for long enough. Um I'm going to leave the episode here, and hopefully you guys have something to say about my thoughts about like this like idea of like having a hangout spot. Um make sure to, for those of you that haven't, make sure to follow and rate the podcast. It would really help. Thank you for listening, taking time out of your day to listen. And make sure to check the description of the podcast to follow us on social medias. And I'll see you next time.